Butts, 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 butts.
Hello, and welcome to Laura's Gaming Butts, that show on Destructoid where we talk about butts in video games for a while. I'm Laura, I'm one of the front page people who basically writes news while the Americans are all asleep and the English people are up, so that's where you might have seen my name pop up about before. Sometimes help out with other stuff, you never know. Today I'm here to discuss video game butts, as I tend to do here, and I have a special guest with me again today, so special guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name's Joe Parlock. I'm a games writery type person, and I'm quite a butt connoisseur. So.
Yeah, this is good. You're someone who is willing to talk butts for extended lengths of time with me, which is something I've been really, my professional career didn't hit its peak until I discovered there were other butt connoisseurs in the world, and they happen to work in the games industry. Who knew?
Let's be honest, I talk butts anyway, but it's nice to talk about butts for once.
Yeah, and to talk about them, as a professional engagement that's part of work. That's always nice when you can sit down and be like, yeah, this is work thing. This is this is furthering my career to talk about butts. Wow. So do you want to tell everyone what we're talking butts about today? Because I think this was your suggestion, I believe.
Well, today we're going to be talking about the frankly fabulous arses that can be found in the Street Fighter series.
Fantastic! I've been waiting for this. There's such a grand variety of butts to talk about. So where do we want to start on the butts today? Do you have a particular one you'd like to start with?
A particular butt I want to start with. Well, we should probably start with the most famous one, which would be Cammy.
Let's start with Cammy's arse.
Let's get Cammy out the way.
So Cammy, she's just sort of easiest way to describe it is she's a classic hourglass figure. She's very sort of top heavy and definitely bottom heavy with a very, very small waist. She's just sort of very hourglassy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but she has got the thigh game going on as well.
Yeah, well that's the interesting thing is her butt's not like disproportionately large. Like she's got very tree trunky the upper half of her leg into her thighs is very meaty. Yeah. And as such it's not disproportionate, it just all very carefully, she's got very small feet, and then by the time you get to the knees it just kind of fans up into this huge ass.
Definitely.
Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, it gets to the knees and then it's like, sod it, we're going big. And then it happens.
And then it just happens. It's like it's less like her ass cheeks are a part of her waist, they're more just like the top of her legs that happens to be asses. It's interesting looking at this shot that you sent me when we started doing this, which I'll put up on the screen for everyone. It's interesting. Very little of her ass is covered by her leotard. It appears to be giving her quite the wedgie, unfortunately, which can't be comfortable for fighting. But I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. If that's comfortable, then more power to her.
No one quite knows where the bottom of her leotard's gone.
No, it's somewhere.
Yeah, scientists have been trying to find it, but not yet.
I am happy to investigate her butt until we find it, but unfortunately, I think this might be above our pay scale. I don't think we are quite skilled enough in the art of butt.
Well, you need all sorts of safety gear and abseiling
I'm thinking
equipment.
A diving helmet might be helpful because that's gone quite hidden inside a cavernous arse.
Yeah.
But it's from the looks of it, it's not like a toned arse, but it's not excessively flabby. It's there's enough fat there just to get a grip on.
Yeah.
Without it being because again, it's not like an athlete's arse. It's not like a sporty toned one. It's not muscular. But it's large.
It's functional.
It's not going to hurt to sit down on concrete for a few hours. You're not going to get a numb bum.
No.
It is a practical arse that works very well with her frame.
Yeah, I suppose it gives a nice cushioning, because if she's going to be hit around a lot, she's going to need that cushioning, which serves perfectly for.
I would far rather land on that arse if I'd been knocked over than a muscular one, because as practical as a muscular arse is going to be getting some high kicks going, I'd far rather fall on something a bit more cushiony.
And she does do a lot of jumping around, so
maybe
that's a practical decision?
Perhaps, I don't know.
She woke up one day thinking, right, I'm going to be flipping around, landing on my arse a lot. I've got to eat a few cakes to prepare.
Well, I'm just going to put this out there. This is my favourite thing about this show, is having to look at characters which were clearly designed purely for fan service and read in as much as possible into the lore decisions behind why they're designed this way. Because it's like, no, it couldn't just be because they know that, like, gaming guys and girls like to see big asses. No, it is entirely practical reasons to do with that character design.
Yeah.
Like, she's wearing a lot of sort of camo paint on her legs. Maybe she's thinking, ooh, I'm going to be out, you know, in camouflaged environments for a lot of time. I'm not necessarily going to have a chair to sit on when I need to sit down for a while. I think that it would be in my best interest to put a little badonkadonk weight on.
Yeah, no one's going to notice the very fleshy covered legs with all that camouflage on. Yeah,
all that, like... Actually, you know what? Looking at those legs, people are just going to think, oh, there's a woman out there with snakes crawling all over her. Like,
it's Medusa.
I don't think that's going to be effective camouflage. However, the other thing is I don't think people, like, if she gets spotted, people are going to be a little bit distracted by that backside. Like, it's going to take them a few seconds to start shooting because, oh, don't want to accidentally shoot that. It's like, how do I hit her in the stomach without risking hitting the arse?
Yeah, plus she's got that long hair, which sort of when she's not flipping around, when it's not flailing all over the place, it would very nicely border the arse. It would frame it like a painting.
Well, that's the thing, is like, yeah, naturally the way it hands down when she's not moving is that it kind of just like sits to either side. So it's like, oh, hey, what's between these hair bits? Oh, yeah, it's my arse. Like, particularly with, like, the little red hair elastic she has at the end of her plaits. They just line up very nicely with the centre of her arse.
Yeah, it just looks like a very fancy old frame for a portrait.
Yeah. It's although the red framing with those little hair elastics, it's like, danger! Pretty big arse.
Pretty big arse, and I will kick your ass. So it all evens out.
Yeah, it all evens out. So, anything else we want to say about Cammy, or are we going to move on to another arse?
A firm. I'd give it a firm butt out of 10, probably.
I'd give it a good squeezy handful out of practical arse.
Yeah, it's the Xena warrior princess of arses, basically.
I like that.
Yeah.
It is the. It's the ready salted crisp of arses. It's like, there is very little not to like about it, even if it's not your favourite.
Yeah, it's bland, but it's just the right amount of goodness inside of it.
It's like, yeah, I'd still, like, I would rather have that arse than, like, there are arses I absolutely hate. I find very little to hate about this arse.
Yeah, I was like, I wouldn't want a salt and vinegar arse, so...
Well, salt and vinegar arse is a bit polarising. Like, I'm sure we will come across some salt and vinegar arses as we go. So where do we want to go next?
Well, we got one of the main characters. Let's go to Ryu.
Now, when we were looking for quick reference images, the first thing we found was a picture of Evil Ryu, and I'm going to put this picture of Evil Ryu up, because... Like, I know this is a podcast about arses, but just side point that I have to mention. It looks like, yeah, look at the front of his shirt blowing up. I can't look at that and not see him having a huge fat off erection. Like, that is the only thing I can see, is just Evil Ryu is so evil and so happy about being evil because he's just walking around the combat field like, yeah, what you gonna do about this?
You see this?
Do what I'm made of. I will slap you about. Anyway, so we should be talking Ryu's arse. So, Ryu's arse. He's the main character of the series. You would think that would mean he'd have the best arse. That's just like simple maths.
Yeah.
Main character, most detail put into the arse. But you see very little of his arse.
Yeah.
And what you do see is just very... I don't know. It's muscular and toned, but it's small. It's like barely there. And it's hidden by like a billowing shirt that he has like kind of tied off at his waist. So you never really get a good look at what is ostensibly just like the arse of Street Fighter. Is just kind of small and hidden away.
Yeah, you get brief flashes of arse whenever he does his spinning Tatsumaki kick. But it's like 3 frames and then it's gone again.
Well, it's like,
it's a rare
yeah.
ass.
I've seen a few, like, there's a few characters in a few games that are like this, but it's very strange because he's very top heavy, because he's got like this huge muscular upper torso, like these hulking biceps, and his pecs are enormous. And again, his feet are the same, like he's got enormous leg muscles, his feet are huge and grounded to the floor. And like you've got this huge, impressive, muscular, well-built frame with all of these muscles that are like rippling out larger than they'd normally be on anyone else. And then he just has such an average ass.
Yeah, it's like, just doesn't put any... It's like Ryu as a character. He puts all of his focus into his martial arts so he can be the best fighter there is. And you'd think that would filter down into his ass in some way, but it just doesn't.
It's like he's toned it, but he's just not done enough squats to build muscle mass.
Yeah.
Like, there is no muscle mass there. It is just... It's a connecting pin between a muscular upper frame and a muscular lower frame, and then just in the middle it's like, oh, okay, that's the elastic band holding this action figure together, is his ass.
It really seems like it would be his Achilles heel. Like, you can't hit the legs, there's too much muscle. You can't hit the chest, there's too much muscle. Go for the ass, you could probably split him in half.
I'm just imagining, like, if you... I don't know if all of you will be aware of this, but American G.I. Joe figures had an elastic band in the centre of them that held their torso together. I'm just imagining you kick him in the arse, he falls apart, and an elastic band just springs out and hits the ceiling. And then you have to ask Ryu's mum to put it back together by rewinding the elastic band.
You just see, like, a little baby Ken run over with an elastic band. He complains he's accidentally broken Ryu.
Oh, God.
Like, Gooken's there, like, God damn it, Ken.
Yeah. I feel so bad that there's not more we can say about his arse, but it's just like, it's hidden away, and it's just like, there is very little to say about that arse. It's
I hope one day Ryu will be comfortable enough to unleash his ass, but right now it's just not there. Maybe Street Fighter 5.
I'm hoping that, yeah, exactly. I'm hoping Street Fighter 5, like, there's an entire, like, training montage cutscene where it's just him doing squats because you realise he's neglected his ass, and it's just, like, a 6-minute long cutscene of him doing, like, squats to dramatic music.
Wistfully looking at Cammy's leotard.
Like, one day.
Capcom, you're welcome.
Yeah, get on that. If Street Fighter 5 is the best-selling Street Fighter ever, you can thank us for that. Because, you know, you're
here and now.
Your protagonist, like, you wonder why Mario has sold so well throughout the years. Like, Mario is a mascot for a series who has a decent arse, where they've, like, paid attention to his arse. Ryu, they're just like, no, like, doesn't matter.
I've got to be honest, I always grew up as a Sonic kid more than a Mario kid, and even I've got to admit that Mario does have a lot of back going on.
Well, I still think that's why that series has endeared longer than Sonic has, is that it's got that arse to centre around, and just Street Fighter doesn't have that with Ryu.
No, it's almost like they wanted a different character to be the main character. They put all the effort on the arse, and then someone was like, hang on, we've got Muscles McGee over here, we should probably use him.
Well, I have, like, one thought, and that's that, like, perhaps it's a deliberate choice that he has such a lackluster arse, is that, like, as he's the protagonist, he's the main character, he's someone that they want players to be able to relate with. And perhaps having a stunning arse would make him unattainable in people's eyes.
I know Mario feels unattainable to me. So.
Oh, I know. I'll never stand up to Mario in the arse department.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, well, that's what I'm thinking. It's like I will never have those muscles on my arms. I will never have those pecs. I will never have those legs. But that arse. Maybe I can achieve that arse. And maybe in one small way I can look as amazing as Ryu, and it might be the most lackluster part of him, but I will attain his arse.
I will feel a bit closer to Ryu once I have that arse.
Maybe that is it. It's just like they need something that can be aspirable to the average gamer, and that's his arse.
Yeah, because Street Fighter is a pretty wacky series. There's a lot of weird things going on, so maybe they just need that one grounding point, which is Ryu's butt.
It all makes so much sense now. We've cracked the code.
We've cracked Ryu's ass. Wonderful.
we have found the crack in his ass. Anyway, what's next to talk about?
Next, we have got... let's do Poison.
Okay, let's do Poison. So, there are things that people will probably expect us to talk about with Poison, which we're not going to talk about. So we are literally just going to judge Poison on the quality of her ass.
Her ass is amazing.
She has a fantastic ass.
It's like the picture I sent you. She's just happy putting that on display. It's
Well,
right
if you had
there.
an ass like that, wouldn't you put it on display?
Exactly.
It is a magnificent ass.
Exactly.
Like, the entire thing that, like, I feel about that ass is it's like, you look at Cammy's ass, and there is more of it, but it's less toned. Like, the slight drop in size you get for Poison in the ass department is entirely made up for by the slender legs and the lead into it, and the sheer tone of that ass.
Yeah. It's like I can't quite tell whether her ass is actually smaller or whether she's just got a lot more leg leading up to it.
Yeah, it's very long, very slender legs that kind of, it might just be that, as you're saying, that like that extra leg length and slenderness might just make the arse appear smaller in proportion.
Yeah.
But like I find very little to criticize about that arse.
Yeah, plus she actually, one of her main like ultra combos in Ultra is she has her riding crop and she will like, spank the hell out of anyone she's fighting. So she knows how to use an ass as well, which I think also matters.
Well, that's the thing, is if you've got an arse like that, you've got to be like, you don't get an arse like that by accident. You get an arse like that by really working for it. And you've got to understand arses get to that point. And as such, like, I think that shows in her combat. She has dedicated the required time into learning everything there is to learn about asses. And I'm hoping that in my crusade to podcast about asses in games, that I will attain that same level of knowledge and that one day I can have a poison ass. Not in the kind of way I'd say like certain other characters we might talk about later have poison asses.
Oh boy.
But no, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like Ryu, he put all of his focus into learning how to destroy an enemy. He can punch your face off, he can Shoryuken you into space, but he doesn't have any arse-themed attacks. Whereas Poison, she spent years honing her ass, toning it, getting to know her ass, so she knows how to cause the maximum damage to other people's.
You know who she reminds me of most in terms of fighting game characters? And it's not a Street Fighter character. It's going to seem an interesting comparison point, but it's Luigi in Super Smash Bros.
Really?
Yeah, because he, like, if you play as Luigi in Super Smash Bros., he has arse-themed attacks where he will jump and smack his arse against people. And again, it's like, rather than going for sheer size like Mario did, Luigi's like, no, I'm going to tone my arse, I'm going to learn how to use it, and I am going to kick ass with my arse. And like, that's how I feel about Poison. I think that, like,
that makes sense.
Yeah, Poison has, like, it's like, Poison has gone for the whole tactic of, I'm not going to have the biggest arse, but I'm going to be the most adept at using it. I am going to kick ass with my arse.
I can't be the biggest or be the best.
Yeah, and that is like, it is my favourite attribute to see in fighting game characters is I'm going to beat your ass with my arse.
Definitely. It's just glorious all round, to be honest.
Yeah.
Poison, you're wonderful.
Yeah, you are amazing. I can't fault your ass in any way.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 would ask again.
So, if we're talking about poison asses...
Yeah, this is a good segue.
Yeah,
I know where you're going here.
I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to say Kuma from Street Fighter Cross Tekken, because technically he's a Tekken character, but he's in a Street Fighter game, so
I made a mistake bringing you on. You've completely broken the rules of podcast here.
I have, but they're in the same canon, so whatever.
Seeing as you've broken the rules anyway, you might as well do it now. But this is a one-time thing. I'm not letting other guests do this. You are the one rule exception that proves the rule, or however that phrase goes.
Yeah, that's basically my life. I'm just the guy who messes everything up.
So, tell us about Kuma's arse.
Kuma is a bear. And I don't mean a Zangief sort of bear, I mean an actual grizzly bear.
Yeah.
And one of his super arts, which is like the ultra combos from Street Fighter 4, is he will trip someone over so their face lands on his ass and he will fart in their face. And if we're saying that Poison's got a poison ass, I think Kuma comes along and just takes everything. It's wonderful.
Again, like, this is really weird. I did not expect myself to be drawing as many Mario parallels as I have in this one, but there is a really good direct parallel for Kuma, which is Wario.
Yeah.
Where again, it's like it's like it's not the size or the shape or the definition or anything like that of the arse. It is the function. It's like, hey, I'm going to use my body to make my arse a lethal weapon.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think there's a bit of a lesson that Donkey Kong could learn from Kuma.
Yeah.
Because I remember you saying about Donkey Kong, he wears his tie to draw all the attention to his arms and his chest and his biceps and all that. But then he has very little arse. Whereas Kuma, he's got arse for days, but he still wears that bandana. So it shows how you can use neck accessories and still pack it in the back.
Yeah, you use neck accessories that don't point towards your weaknesses. Like, that tie points down towards Donkey Kong's lack of an arse, whereas Kuma's like, no, I'm going to focus you on the top half of me, even though I don't need to, because I have an arse that is admirable.
Yeah, his arse speaks for itself. It could stand up for itself in a fight.
No, I prefer it speaks for itself. It very much speaks for itself.
It does speak for itself.
Oh, goodness.
But she's got that cute little tail.
And I think Kuma's the reason that this episode is going to be dubbed Street Farter. It's his fault. Kuma, you've done it. It's Street Farter.
Thank you, Kuma.
I did a pun. Thank you, whoever it was on Twitter that pointed that pun out.
Kuma comes along and saves the day. See? So it wasn't my fault that I was cheating. It all wraps up nice thematically. So
Okay, I will forgive you for cheating just this once, but never again.
Thank
Don't
you
do it
very
again.
much.
Okay, so whose arse do we want to talk about now that is a character from Street Fighter and not from Tekken?
Hey, Street Fighter cross Tekken, it counts.
Fine.
It's got Street Fighter in the name. Let's go for DJ. Because I don't actually like DJ that much, but he has got a rather splendid ass.
Well, DJ is like... I think DJ is what Ryu should have been.
Yeah.
Just like, all of the comparison points I want to make about DJ are very similar... Like, outside of the arts, are very similar to Ryu. He's got, like, very stocky, tree-trunky legs that give him a very strong grounding. He's got a very over-muscular, very defined top half. But whereas Ryu has just no arse at all to connect those, DJ has a big, chunky... It looks like it was carved out of stone or brick or marble. Actually, I like marble. It's like his tree trunk legs have marble arse at the top of them.
It was a gift from the Greek gods, is what you're saying.
Yes. It's like, if you look at that picture you sent me, which I'll put up now, like, you look at his pecs, he has arse cheeks like that.
Exactly. It's like he's got the entire package.
He is Ryu who actually took time to do his squats.
Yeah. And it's like
Ryu. Look at DJ. Look at DJ Ryu. That's what you should be doing. That is why you don't have the love and adoration that you should have, even though you're like the main character of your series, is because you're being shown up by DJ.
Yeah,
DJ. No one outside of the Street Fighter community knows the name DJ. No one would know he was a Street Fighter character.
No one in the Street Fighter knows DJ.
Yeah, but they know his arse.
Yeah, and it's I want to point out that he has the same sort of thing that Cammy has going on, but he doesn't need to make it quite as obvious. He's got the two hair things. They don't reach down past his ass, but they guide you nicely down to it.
Well, that's the thing, is like, much like Donkey Kong's tie, as we were discussing, it's points. He's got points at the end of his hair. Yeah. And they're just like, hey, follow these points. You'll see the greatest arse cheeks around.
they're like the Las Vegas sign. Like, banging cheeks this way.
I'm just liking the fact that this particular picture, I'm going to keep coming back to it because it's the one I'm looking at while we talk about this. But I love his smile and big thumbs up. He's like, hey,
I know what I got.
I am bloody excited about my arse. I've got nothing to be ashamed of.
He never actually stops grinning either. Like, even when he's being completely destroyed.
Would you ever stop grinning if you had an arse like that?
Anything could happen to me. I could be farted on by a bear, and I would still be really, really happy.
Be like, I got farted on a bear, but I do have this arse.
Yeah, but by the way, have you noticed my arse? He could end arguments with, by the way, my arse.
Well, the arguments wouldn't even be started. It's like, I'm not starting an argument with him because he's going to turn around and he's going to mention his ass and I'm going to be stuck.
You're going to be stuck with his ass.
Yeah, that's... Oh, God, that ass.
I think that might be one of the best asses we've seen.
Like, I'm not a fan of the guys. I'm not usually into guys, but that ass, yeah, I see the appeal. I could see being attracted to the man attached to the ass because God, that ass. The kind of man who sculpts that kind of ass, that's a dedicated man, and I like that kind of dedication.
He's got the ass, he's got the teeth, he's got the pecs, he's got the hair. It's all one perfect package. That's only even more perfected by the buns.
Oh goodness, have we got anyone else left to talk about before we wrap up?
There's two more I really want to mention.
Okay.
So the first one is Hakan.
Okay, let's talk about Hakan.
Yeah, because Hakan is kind of like Kuma in that he actually uses his arse offensively. And it is really cool. So Hakan is a Turkish oil wrestler. So he has these bottles of oil which he can very seductively pour all over himself. And it's wonderful. And one of his ultra combos is he literally squeezes people out from between his thighs to fling them across the stage.
Oh my.
Yes. That's what I said the first time I played it.
Again, like, Hakan specifically, like, we mentioned the idea of, like, Greek gods before, but I think that term could fairly accurately be, like, applied to Hakan. He doesn't look human.
No.
Like, he's a mountain of a man.
He really is.
I imagine that his ass is very much the same. Like, it's not a muscular ass necessarily, but my God, there's a lot of it, and it's toned.
Yeah, it's like what he might not make up for in form, he makes up for in sheer mass.
Oh God, yeah. You look at pictures of him with like stood next to regular sized human beings. It's like his ass is probably bigger than many people's torsos.
Oh yes, it is.
Yeah.
And the wonderful thing is, like I said, he pours oil all over himself. So
of course he does.
It wraps around his ass.
Yeah.
It's like a fine varnish that you put over wooden chairs.
Just to give it that nice sheen.
Yeah, to make it glisten. That's like, what Hakan is.
It's like the way that you see someone smile in like TV and like there'll be a little glimmer off their smile. It's like you look at Hakan and there's just this little sparkly glimmer comes off his arse.
Yeah, the little ting from the plumber's crack. Oh, Hakan, you are wonderful.
Hakan, you are a mountain of a man, and I'd be scared to come near your ass because, my God, you're terrifying.
Those ass for days, though.
I wouldn't want to mess with that ass. That's just too much. Too much.
But while Hakan is like an oily, greasy fish and chips, Zangief is a full roast beef dinner. I swear to God. And this is the last ass I really want to bring up, which is Zangief.
Okay, why do you think it's like a roast beef dinner?
Look at him. He's like an ox.
I'm just bringing up a picture now so I can have a look at some. Yeah, he's a little bit more human. He's not quite as. Yeah, he's again like he's when he lacks in obviousness of his ass, he makes up for by like knowing how to accentuate it.
Yeah.
Those big red trunks, he's like, yeah, you are going to look at my junk. You're going to look at what junk I got in the trunk. Pardon?
I don't think they're big red trunks at all.
No, okay. But they're tight red trunks, and he's just like, yeah, you're going to look at the junk in my trunk.
Yeah.
You're going to take a look, because this is mine.
Russia carved this ass. This ass isn't just Zangief's ass. It is all of Russia's ass together, mutually.
Russia worked together, and they're like, we will together form
the communal ass.
The ass. It's like, this ass is not my ass. This ass is the people's ass.
Exactly.
Is this a political statement here? It's like, yeah, you will share this ass with the people of Russia.
If you want to talk about the red from the Eastern Bloc, there it is.
Oh, yes.
But also, one of Zangief's super combo things is he will stuff his enemy's face into his crotch. They have a nice view of just the under bit of his ass. So he's another one of these ones who can offensively use his ass. He's more like Poison though, in that he just shows it off.
Well, I think that, like, it's less about the offense, but I think he's trying to intimidate people. It's like, take a look at this arse. I've highlighted it. I'm going to stick your face near it. Look at this arse. This arse is amazing. Feel my arse.
And then every character does feel his ass at some point.
Yeah, everyone fears his arse.
Although, complete and utter side note, his entire torso on that picture looks like a gigantic brain.
Yeah, I can see that.
It looks like a gigantic wrinkly brain.
Oh, God. There is one more I'd like to talk about before we go, which I think it deserves finishing off on.
Oh, yeah.
Which is Rufus.
Oh, Rufus.
We haven't talked about Rufus yet.
Rufus.
So, Rufus is an overweight biker guy with a pair of trousers that it looks like he's had to add some patches to make them fit, and a little bit of plumber's crack.
Yeah, but in Rufus's original costume, he's wearing, like, a full, solid, yellow, skin-tight, like, Bruce Lee onesie. So they actually had to make an alternate skin to let him show off his ass a bit.
Well, I think that, like, again, going back to the idea of costumes that highlight the arse, if you look at that picture of him from behind, like, that patch accentuates his arse.
That is just...
Like,
that isn't even subtle.
Yeah, it is just like, hey, you see this grey section? That's my arse cheeks. If you hadn't noticed the crack, you will have now. The seam in the trousers is leading right up to perfectly match up with the crack. You better notice, I got a lot of arse here.
It looks like a wine glass.
It does kind of look like a wine glass, and that freaks me out a little bit.
What he's basically saying is his crack is like a fine wine to be savoured.
He has the most disproportionate amount of arse. Like, he has... And like, the least tone to his arse. Like, this isn't a muscular arse. This is pure, like, volume of...
Yeah, this is pure bulk.
We are just going to pour liquid human into this arse.
Fun little side note, something I was reading about Street Fighter 4's development. They actually put, according to the thing I read, they put the jiggle physics into Street Fighter 4 specifically for Rufus.
Are you serious?
And his bulk. Like, because he's a really fast character, he can do all flips and spins and everything. Everything jiggles whenever he moves.
Street Fighter understands the importance of good ass physics.
It really does.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's like Soul Calibur, you've got Ivy. Like, yeah, she's got an ass, yeah, it jiggles. Street Fighter? Nah, mate, you got full-on Rufus going on.
We have a character with jiggle physics engines applied to his ass, and that is admirable. With that, I think that's a good place to wrap up for today. So thank you very much for joining me. If people have enjoyed listening to you, where can they find you on the internet?
If for some strange reason you like me, you can find me on Twitter at JoeParlock, JoeParlock. I've also got a bloggy thing, joeparlock.wordpress.com. I also write and edit for indiehaven.com, and that's about it, I think, yeah.
Hurrah, well
Yay.
done. You should go and listen to Joe. He doesn't always talk about arses, but I'm sure you can ask him questions about them now that he's out in the open like this as an art aficionado. So you can find me on Destructoid in the mornings when the Americans are asleep and the UK people are awake. You can find me doing news there. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter at Laura K. Buzz. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll have more asses for you again soon. Bye.
Bye.